Stanley is a hamlet in Ontario County, New York, USA. Located along New York State Route 245 in the town of Seneca. Stanley was formerly known as Stanley's Corner. The nearby hamlet of Hall was also formerly known as Hall's Corner. Coming from Canandaigua on 5 and 20, turn right onto Flint Road. Left on Mott. Trailhead is on the left. Coming from Geneva, follow 14A, then take 245 and follow the road in Stanley. Good morning. This is Discover the Finger Lakes, the new show on YouTube we're doing. My name is James Kinney, and this is Brady Hill. This show is all about the walking trails, biking trails in upstate New York. There's a lot of them up here. We don't know all of them yet. We will. Today is episode 1, and we are in Stanley, New York, on the Ontario Railways Trail. Now, this trail that we're going on today will be from Stanley to Phelps. And I hope everybody watches this and learns something, and will come out to ride it themselves. So, other than that, I don't really have anything else. We'll talk as we go through this trail, and hope you like it. Thank you. The Phelps Trail, you can see here the beginning of it is to the right of the covering where we are at. There's a bench you can sit and relax. Information about the trail and the Pennsylvania at one time. And it must have been a busy section of the railroad. The 5-point star, which talks about the villages in the area, you see, and a map of the Ontario Pathways Trail, as you see here. Some more reading here about the Passport, the Wegmans grocery store chain here in New York, and how it works. And a welcome letter about the trails. And over to the left is the Canandaigua Trail that we will be doing in later episodes. Okay, we're at our first stop. We're on Short Road, and so far so good. It's a little bumpy at times, but I think what we're going to do is just this is one of our stops for a break, and take a little break. And this is where I stop anyway. But we're at the entrance of Short Road, and we cross over and continue on. Okay, folks, so we made it to the 5 and 20 bridge, and the trail continues on at least another 4 or 5 miles, not for sure, but as you can see behind me, the road, you can see that, traffic going. It's kind of loud here, so we'll try to be brief. This bridge actually was rebuilt a couple years ago because of a semi-truck hit the bottom of it and practically damaged it to where they had to, where nobody could cross it, so they had to redo it. And they're doing some construction underneath, trying to remove some of the old concrete. But we've made it so far. This has so far been a really good trail. Brady is doing good. Aren't you, Brady?
Yep.
All right, good. So the next stop, I'm not sure when it will be, but I know it gets a lot more scenic than the first couple of sections. And there are the Flint Creek. You'll be able to see the Flint Creek down here. And so anyway, we're on our way. We'll continue on. Himmlot Grove Loop Trail, footpath only. This is the first loop trail that is on this Ontario Pathways Trail. It is 0.3 miles. You will see here, this is a remnants of the old railroad here. Old railroad electric pole. There is white triangles that show you the way on the trail. Maintained to a 3-foot width. Hiking trail only, no mountain bikes. And this is accessed at passport post number 4 at the big culvert. This next stop is at an overlook. As you can see here, this is Flint Creek, and it is a big drop-off. I would advise people with kids not to play here, but to be very cautious of your surroundings. There are signs here showing to stay back. Now, I wanted to show you this. Drop cautious in doing so. It is a nice area to stop and just relax and take in the scenery, as I have done several times on this trail myself. So now we are at another loop trail. This one is the train wreck loop trail. It is about 0.4 miles. Has the white triangles on the trees. Maintained to a 3-foot width, as well as a hiking trail only, no mountain bikes. Access to this trail is at the Memorial Plaque Boulder, 0.5 miles from the Orleans Trailhead Water Tower. Now, I have been on this trail once. I've walked it. It's a fun little trail. It winds down the hill, and around and along the Flint Creek. And you might find pieces of the old train accident that happened in 1964 here. And so we found something else very interesting. Something, I guess it was a part of the train that had been left behind, or it looks like a locker door. And it's actually grown into a tree. Kind of interesting, huh? So the train wreck loop, very fun. I would do it. We will walk this trail at a later episode. And there is a rock plaque here mentioning and talking about the trail here, and of the people who died. Something to take in and look around, and there's some history here, as you can tell. This is Flint Creek, and the bridge we're on is on County Road 23, and we're at a stopping spot right now, and so I hope you enjoy this. Okay, we're off of 488. We just got off of 488 and started the trail again. There is a dead end section back at the water tower. There is a trail behind that, but you cannot go on that trail because of private property. That's why we took 488 to get back on the trail again. So the next section, we pass over 2 or 3 roads, and we will end up on the end of the trail on Route 96 in Phelps. Well, we made it. We made it to County Road 96 in Phelps. Um, the trail is a very nice trail. I think I've said that already, but you will appreciate the trail. There's portions of it that's rocky, crushed gravel, grass, dirt. There's a lot of nice overlooks into Flint Creek, and I think you'll enjoy that. There's several places you can stop and sit down and rest. Where we are at right now, you can even start here and work your way to where we were at in Stanley. And if you feel really good, you can go all the way to Canandaigua. So I hope you find these trails to be very nice. This is our first episode of Discover the Finger Lakes. And make your way out this way. If you're looking for a nice walk or a bike, these are nice trails. You want to say anything, Brady? Okay. Well, maybe you'll hear more from Brady later on. Anyway, this is episode 1 of Discover the Finger Lakes, the Stanley route to Phelps. And I hope you enjoyed it. Episode 2 will be coming next month, probably sometime in June. And it'll be it'll be a surprise. So, once again, we want to welcome everybody to Discover the Finger Lakes. Bye. Bye.